What is up, YouTube? Chris Havard here. Well done, Farm Co. And I've been seeing a lot of people in my comments on multiple platforms talk about how small farms are going to go under because beef prices are going to drop. And I gotta say, based off my research, based off my little bit of experience in the business sector, private sector, corporation, whatever you want to call it, I got a call that that's not the case. And the reason I say it's not the case is the beef market is about to be subsidized just as all the rest of farming has been subsidized, right? Like if you listen to the big farmers, the people who do the soybeans, the corn, the grain, the things that typically go into your feedlots, the input prices on seeds, on all these other kind of things are through the roof. And to be honest, they're going to keep going up, right? That's one of the biggest pieces of inflation is the input in the grain market, in the that portion of agriculture. As you look at the market in and of itself, they're so invested in spreading to other parts of the world, and the people who run these larger markets for soybeans and corn and things of that nature are so vested in other parts of the world that they determine the prices, right? And they've also got a monopoly on the entire thing to where it's flowing almost like the chicken market was or is currently, right? Like if you think about the fact that, hey, in order to sell soybeans to me, in order to sell peanuts to me, in order to sell corn to me, you have to hit X criteria. And because I'm the biggest purchaser and I'm predominantly buying up all of it, you have to do what I say, otherwise your crop goes nowhere. There's not many people buying soybeans direct from their farmers, right? So with that, those people determine the price. How does this relate to the beef market, right? Like those markets have been subsidized for years off of our tax dollars. The beef market, even more so, is going to fall into that category, especially as Trump expands into other parts of the world to import beef into America. So while the cow price may drop, the cow price may crash. The input price is going to stay high, which in turn, if any farmer's doing their due diligence that uses those inputs, they're going to wind up putting that cost onto the consumer. The other thing to think about is because it's not just going to be the little guys doing it, the big boys are going to also have similar issues. The price per hour isn't going to drop for people with that skilled labor to do that work, right? Like if you drop that price too low, as with other processors, many people are just going to go to other places and work. They're not going to continue to cut meat anymore. They'll find a different job. They'll do whatever they got to do, right? Like you're not going to force anybody to work for less than what they're worth. That in turn is going to be pushed off to the customer. So the beef prices, in terms of the retail cuts, in terms of what's actually being sold at the stores, you don't go to Walmart and buy a half a beef. You don't go to a Costco and buy a quarter beef. You go buy steaks, you go buy brisket, you go buy all those retail cuts. Those are still going to stay around the same price, if not go up a little bit. So a small farmer who knows a processor could easily sell for within the same range as they've been selling to the people who do feedlot sales and make a living. So the idea that the cow market is going to crash, I don't necessarily think that's a good idea to think about. And I don't think it's very factually based, just based on how America's been propping up all of its industries with tax dollars. Now, beef prices, for sure, they're going to drop. And the reason they're going to drop is they've been in a bubble for a long time. The demand for beef has been astronomical. But at the same time, there is going to come a point, as it always does, where it rises and falls. So there will be a drop. It could be a catastrophic drop. I'm not sure. I don't know enough about cattle prices to say anything, but in terms of retail, in terms of commercial sales, things like that, those prices aren't going to go anywhere. They might drop a tad, if anything, but for the most part, they're going to stay relatively the same because corporations will not take that big of a cut because they would have to literally close down and shut down a ton of jobs, which would in turn mean a lot of people who are constituents of politicians would be like, hey, we're not working. And that would make its way up to the top. And then subsequently, it would be subsidized. So, but let me know what you guys think, right? Like this is me doing it off of my research, doing it off a little bit of knowledge of the business sector, a little bit, but I've only been looking at this stuff for the last 2 or 3 years. There are people out here who have decades of experience who have seen things like this before. By all means, let me know what you guys think. Appreciate you guys for almost 200 subs. Definitely thank you guys for tuning in. But yeah, that's all I got. Peace.